Hey guys, what's going on? James here, and this is it, guys. This is the final mock draft for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers leading up to the NFL draft. This will probably be uploaded the day before the NFL draft, round 1 on Wednesday, I think. So, real quick, if you guys are new, go ahead and subscribe. That'd be greatly appreciated. And if you do like this kind of content, leave a like. It helps me develop more of the content that will be posted on this channel. So, with that being said, guys, let's go ahead and get started with this final mock draft. It's been a fun run, by the way. I always enjoy doing these mock drafts and reading all your guys' thoughts and opinions. It really is a blast, and man, I'm excited for this draft. But in round 1, pick number 32, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers selecting Joe Tryon, edge defender out of Washington. 6'4", 251 pounds. I mean, this pick, in my opinion, is a solid pick. I mean, I really do like Joe Tryon. I've said this before, and I will say it again. I think I even had him in one of my recent mock drafts. I think maybe the first mock draft I did. I think I had him getting taken, I believe, in the second round. I'm bumping him up to the first round because a lot of things have happened since that first mock draft. And Joe Tryon has been showing some very impressive work and impressing a lot of different people, myself included. So I think there is a possibility the Tampa Bay Buccaneers could select him in round 1. And I've talked about him before, I'll talk about him again. I love his size, I love his ability. He's a little bit raw for an edge rusher, but I've mentioned this in previous videos just in the past day or two. Getting a guy to develop behind Shaq, Barrett, and Jason Pierre-Paul is insanely valuable. And I think Joe Tryon, he could be that dude where if he develops in the right system and with the right people, he could be an insanely talented player for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense for many years to come. I mean, I think of his potential rise to success as another former Washington player, specifically on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers' rise to success, that being Vita Vea. And we all know how much we love Vita Vea, so imagine that potentially happening again, but with an edge defender, that being Joe Tryon. That's a pretty good combo. Sign me up, please. So Joe Tryon out of Washington is who I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers selecting in round 1, pick number 32 of this mock draft. Round 2, pick number 64, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers selecting Josh Myers, center out of Ohio State. 6'5", 312 pounds. And first off, I think Josh Myers would be a very solid pick. I don't know if he would even be available. Again, I'm going based off of the Draft Network's big board, and they seem to believe he could potentially be available around the Tampa Bay Buccaneers pick. I believe he is the prospect ranked a few picks after the Tampa Bay Buccaneers pick at 64. But man, Josh Myers, he could be a starting center for a couple of teams day 1, which does lead me to believe might not be there, but if he is, Tampa Bay Buccaneers should swoop in right away. And I think that this would basically spell the end of Ryan Jensen's time in Tampa Bay after this season is over, because Josh Myers, the dude would just be ready to go. And whenever you factor in him pretty much almost already being a starting caliber player with all the mentorship and learning that he's going to get in his first year at Tampa Bay, it would pretty much be set in stone. Josh Myers would be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers starting center in year 2. I mean, I have that much confidence in the guy. I think that he is such a solid center. He's a dog, right? He gets after it. He puts in that work. He's a beast. Ryan Jensen's a beast as well, and I love him. Maybe you could move Josh Myers to guard or something if you wanted to, but he is traditionally a center, and I think that if the Tampa Bay Buccaneers had to move on from Ryan Jensen due to money concerns or something like that, Josh Myers could be that guy for the next 3 years for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I think fit in pretty darn seamlessly. So Josh Myers, pick number 64, round 2, is who I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers selecting in this mock draft. In round number 3, pick number 95, this is where it gets interesting. I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers selecting Kellen Mond, quarterback out of Texas A&M, 6'3", 205 pounds. By the way, I love how every single time I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers selecting a quarterback, I always say, man, this is getting interesting. I don't know why I do that. I just always like saying that before the quarterback pick. I think I've had the Tampa Bay Buccaneers selecting a quarterback in every single one of these mock drafts, and I just like it because I like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers picking a quarterback in this mock draft. I honestly should probably make a whole video talking about that. In fact, Past James honestly might have already made a video talking about that. But anyway, the point is that, yeah, I like Kellen Mond. I think he's a good quarterback, and I know a lot of Bucs fans have actually been clamoring for Kellen Mond to potentially be the future quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'll actually give you guys a good example. This is completely off the cuff. I did not plan for this. I actually did a poll where I said, if you could have one of these quarterbacks on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which one would it be and why? 326 people voted. 6% said Jamie Newman, who I've had in a mock draft. 8% said Davis Mills, who I've had in a mock draft. 38% said Kyle Trask, who I've had in a mock draft, and then 36% said Kellen Mond, who I now have in a mock draft. And honestly, that's a pretty interesting battle there between Trask and Mond, because, I mean, a lot of people like Trask. I mean, the guy's from Florida, for goodness sakes. But Kellen Mond has gotten so many fans in the Buccaneers community that he's even going against the hometown kid. That says a lot there, in my opinion. I think that says a lot of people do believe in Kellen Mond. And, yeah, by the way, 13% said other and listed their comments down in the comments section below. Thank you to the guys who did that. Go check out the community tab, by the way. We do a lot of fun stuff over there. The point I'm trying to make is that people like Kellen Mond as a potential long-term quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, at least as a developmental guy right away, and I agree with that. And I've said this about all the quarterback prospects, but I will say it again, having a guy develop with Tom Brady, with Clyde Christensen, with Bruce Arians, with Blaine Gabbert, if they bring him back, fingers crossed, and all the other guys that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have, Kellen Mond could potentially be that dude of the future. We've seen it with Jimmy Garoppolo. We've seen it with Jacoby Brissett. Those guys have had starting gigs before. Jacoby Brissett's been a starter before for a couple of teams. Jimmy Garoppolo is still a starter, at least right now, until, you know, the San Francisco 49ers take back Mac Jones or Justin Fields or whoever with the 3rd overall pick. The point is that, you know, understudies of Tom Brady, they get opportunities to be starters. I think Kellen Mond could get that opportunity eventually with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I think that he is a solid quarterback who can make all the throws and fit pretty darn well into a Tampa Bay Buccaneers offensive system. So Kellen Mond, round 3 is who I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers selecting. Round number 4, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers selecting Charles Snowden, linebacker out of Virginia, 6'6", 232 pounds. Again, I've mentioned this before, getting a solid backup middle linebacker besides Kevin Minter should be on the list of Tampa Bay Buccaneers needs. Getting Snowden in the 4th round is a pretty solid pick. I think that he could be a guy who, again, right away, solid special teams guy, eventually maybe takes over for Levante David. Not great in pass coverage right away, in my opinion, but I think he's a very solid tackler, and I think that's what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers need. And I don't think that he's awful in pass coverage. I think he's good in pass coverage, but I still think he has ways that he can develop. I think that he's an all-around solid linebacker, but I think his most positive trait is his tackling, and for a special teams guy, that's huge. So Charles Snowden, linebacker out of Virginia, 4th round is who I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers selecting. In round number 5, pick number 176, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers selecting a guy who I've talked about before on this channel, Demetric Felton, wide receiver out of UCLA, 5'9", 189 pounds. This dude can do a lot of things. He can play wide receiver, he can play running back, he can be a returner, and I think for the future of this team, that would be incredibly valuable. I think right away Demetric Felton could be the return guy competing with Jadon Mickens, and I think in the future, he could be the receiving back, depending on what happens with Giovanni Bernard and his contract. Demetric Felton can be that dude who's a receiving back. He can play in the slot. I mean, his versatility is absolutely insane. There's a reason the Tampa Bay Buccaneers wanted to meet with him. They view him as a gadget guy, and I think he could be extremely valuable as that type of guy, especially in today's NFL, by the way, with all these different types of motioning and weird, tricky play calling. Demetric Felton could thrive in that type of environment. So with that being said, Demetric Felton, wide receiver out of UCLA, is who I have them selecting in round number 5. In round number 6, pick number 217, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers selecting Naquan Jones, interior defensive lineman out of Michigan State. 6'4", 323 pounds. This would primarily be a depth pick for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think he could be a guy who could figure into the rotation right away. Not a ton, potentially having a Khalil Davis type of role in the first couple of years, but maybe eventually getting more playing time with Sue, eventually retiring with Will Golson, eventually having his contract run out. Maybe they re-sign him, maybe they don't. I could see Jones getting a little bit more playing time continuously as the years progress. So, Naquan Jones, interior defensive lineman out of Michigan State, is who I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers selecting in round 6. In round 7, pick number 251, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers selecting Royce Newman, interior offensive lineman out of Ole Miss, 6'5", 306 pounds. He can play both guard and center, which is pretty valuable. I mean, Bruce Arians, he does like having that versatility in his offensive line. Really, Royce Newman could play a lot of positions along the offensive line. I think he's capable of being a backup at pretty much any position. I said Royce Freeman from the Denver Broncos. Oh well. But anyway, yeah, Royce Newman, I think that he is versatile enough to really be put anywhere along that offensive line, and we know how Bruce Arians is in terms of versatility. He likes versatile offensive linemen, and I think Royce Newman would slot in right away. So Newman, interior offensive lineman out of Ole Miss, is who I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers selecting in round number 7, pick number 251. And then finally, guys, round 7, pick number 259, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers selecting KD Nixon, wide receiver out of Colorado, 5'8", 185 pounds. This, again, is another guy who could be a potential slot guy. He could be a returner. And I'll be honest, I don't even know if KD Nixon would make the initial 53-man roster for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He may have to be stashed away on the practice squad, but I do like his prospects as a developmental wide receiver for the next couple of years for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and then you see what he has maybe by year 3 or even year 4 if he, makes it that far with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers or he gets signed by another team. I think that it is a solid flyer pick to make, and at the very least, you could see what he has as a returner right away for the Buccaneers, competing with J.D. Mickens and Demetric Felton as well. If there just isn't room for him, you try and stash him on the practice squad and continue to let him develop. But guys, that's going to be it for this final mock draft. What do you guys think? Let me know down in the comment section below. Do you like this mock draft? Do you hate this mock draft? Give me your mock drafts and your thoughts down in the comment section below. We are so stinking close to the NFL draft, I can almost taste it. And this is going to be a lot of fun. As I've said, I am doing a live stream for the entirety of the first round. I'm going to have a lot of guests. We're going to have a lot of fun with it. And man, it's going to be a long live stream, but I think it's going to be loads and loads of fun. We're going to be talking about not just the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, obviously, but every player that gets picked with every team. So, yeah, guys, that being said, thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs.